These are administrative hearings, and by nature they are informal, which means you are not hampered by the rules of evidence. However, please be aware that you are still testifying under oath. Each party will have their opportunity to state their case. After each party states their case, they will have the opportunity to ask questions of the other party. Please do not interrupt the other party. You will be given ample time to talk. In many cases, we are aware that there is history. You may briefly tell the commission about the history. However, please focus on the issue at hand. After each case, the commission will have open deliberation. During these deliberations, the public may not participate. If the commissioners have an additional question, you may answer the question. No further information will be heard, and a decision will be rendered. This decision is a recommendation to the chief of police or his representative. The recommendation of the commission will be taken into consideration, and a final decision will be made by the chief of police of his designated representative. If, as the defendant in the case, you are unhappy with this decision of the commission, you may appeal. For citation cases, appeals are taken through the District Court of Maryland. For administrative orders, potentially dangerous, and vicious orders, appeals are through the County Board of Appeals. Please call the first case.
I'll call roll initially. Is there an Elizabeth Lance or Stephanie O'Rourke here? What's your name now?
Stephanie O'Rourke.
Elizabeth Lance. Elizabeth Lance. The complainant's failed to show. Would you like to uphold? Just need a motion. I mean to dismiss, excuse me.
I'll make a motion to dismiss.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
So it's over?
It's over.
That's it.
Oh, we don't even have to like present our defense?
You
She
won.
moved to Canada, she's long gone. You'll never see us again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a nice day.
That was easy.
Yes, I figured it would be. She called me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, Animal Care and Control versus Roberta Pearson, appeal of dangerous order on diesel. All parties who are interested in this case or wish to testify may now come forward to take the oath. Please remain standing and raise your right hand. You're a witness, yes, you need to be sworn.
Stand up and raise your right hand. I'm sorry, she's young.
You're going to be testifying?
Just in case they have questions.
You declare and affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Please state your name and address for the record.
Officer Serena Thomas, Anne Arundel County Public Safety Officer, 411 Maxwell Drive Road, Animal Control.
Officer Lisa Wolf, 411 Maxwell Fry Road, Millersville, Maryland, 21108.
Dawn Wright, I work in Church Street.
Roberta Pearson, 516 Church Street, 21225.
Lindsay Williams, 516 Church Street.
All right, you can come forward and have a seat.
Is she gonna come forward?
Officer Wilkinson here.
Yes, ma'am, right there.
She's a witness.
Okay.
Thank you. Is that this?
You're the complainant, correct?
She's a witness.
She's a witness.
The complainant's not here. Good afternoon. As stated, I'm Officer Wolf. I was the assigned officer to investigate this case. What was reported to me was from Officer Fabrizi. On July 22nd, 2019, she gave me a report that she responded for a call of service on July 21st, 2019 to assist county police with a bike case. Upon her arrival, she assisted police with an aggressive dog that bit a citizen at 518 Church Street, Brooklyn, 21225. That had also charged paramedics that were treating the victim and then charged police, resulting in the police having to discharge a firearm. While at the scene, she spoke with the officers who stated that, in fact, this is what occurred. And as a result, the dog was shot in the leg and transported by the owners to Catonsville Emergency Vet. She and the other officers went to the owner's house to find out who the dogs belonged to. That time they spoke to juveniles that were at the home who stated that both of their parents were at the vets with Diesel, the dog in question. They stated that the other dog that got out was Bella. Officer Fabrizi went to the victim's residence at 518 Church Street and spoke to Burton Goodrich. He advised that he had gone outside to take the trash out when he heard a neighbor screaming about a toddler on the sidewalk that was alone heading towards the road. He went to go get the child when two pit bull type dogs were at large. The male dog was the aggressor and bit him on the back of the right thigh just above the knee. He stated that he had multiple puncture wounds. The paramedics had already bandaged the wound, so she did not get to see it. He also stated to her that one of the paramedics took a picture of it with his cell phone and verified that it was Diesel. He stated that the other dog, Bella, was out but did not go after him, calling her an innocent bystander. ECU responded to the emergency vets to recover the bullet from Diesel. They were advised that she would follow up and speak to the owner and obtain the dog's information. Officer Fabrizi then proceeded to the Catonsville Emergency Vet to meet with the owners. Upon arrival, she spoke with Roberta Pearson and Robert Gwynn, the owners. She stated that she and her husband were out to eat when the incident occurred. Ms. Pearson stated that her 2-year-old grandchild knows how to open the door, and that's how the dogs got out. She stated they were up to date on their license and rabies, which was later confirmed. The owners were then advised of the possibility of Diesel having to come to the shelter after he was released from care during this investigation. After speaking to the owners, the ECU technician and Officer Fabrizi went back into the treatment area, which at this time the vet stated that she was not going to remove the bullet because it wasn't necessary right now. The ECU tech took photos of the dog and the wound as well as the officer. The owners were met a final time and given Officer Thomas's phone number, advising someone would be in touch with them on Monday. In Officer Thomas's absence, I was asked to handle the case. Dr. Groover, the treating veterinarian, requested the bite department's information and also the administrators. She wanted to contact our agency when the dog was released. On Monday morning, between the vet's office and Animal Care and Control Administrator Robin Catlett, it was coordinated for the dog to be transferred to Anne Arundel County per the state health code to be treated by their own veterinarian. Extensive surgery had to take place and Everhart Vet Hospital agreed to do the surgery. It was determined that due to Diesel's leg being amputated in need of around-the-clock care, that he would be allowed to go home after the surgery until healed and to the point of not needing such attention. An agreement was made between Animal Care and Control and the owners, and at that time the dangerous order was issued. Mr. and Mrs. Gwynn appealed that order and signed the agreement. On August 2nd of 2019, Officer Johnson met with Ms. Pearson Gwynn and took photos of their yard. This was prior to any impositions being met. The final inspection is pending the Gwynns completing the impositions. On August 1st, 2019, Mr. Burton contacted me and stated he could not come to this hearing due to missing time at work. I asked him to please fax me this information in a statement and that I would be in touch with him if necessary. On August 5th, 2019, Ms. Dawn Wright contacted me and stated that she would be at today's hearing but had not made any official statements to me to date. Currently, Diesel is still under medical treatment and at home. I do also have the statement that was faxed to me from Mr. Burton Goodrich, if you would like me to read that as well. Mr. Goodrich states that on the morning of July the 21st at approximately 10:30 a.m., he was taking the trash cans to the curb and heard a woman yelling, "There's a baby about to go into the street." I looked towards my neighbor's house and saw a toddler on the sidewalk walking towards the street. I noticed the neighbor's front door was open, so I walked towards the toddler. As I did, I noticed two dogs behind the garbage cans down the street. The male dog Diesel ran towards me and bit me on the back of my right thigh. I never touched the toddler. I probably got bit about 5 feet from him. Before I was bit, and after the dog bit me, I ran towards my residence. As I was going to open the front door, the dog jumped the fence in his own yard and came after me. I was able to get in the house before he could attack me again. One of my other neighbors saw the whole thing happen and called 911. I saw the paramedics pull up and go around the block. I saw a paramedic get out and walk towards the neighbor's house. Diesel came out of the backyard of my residence and charged the paramedic. The paramedic got back into the ambulance and the dog went after the police officer. Excuse me. And I heard a gunshot. I heard the dog yelp, and this is also the first time I noticed the teenage daughter outside. Prior to this event about 3 weeks earlier, I was outside with my 8-year-old son when Diesel came out of the backyard of my residence and chased us. Luckily, we were able to get into the house. That's the end of the statement.
Did you witness at the back?
Behind me, ma'am.
Okay.
Did you have anything to add, or?
It's just that I saw everything that happened, and it's exactly what they said happened. I actually saw the dog get shot. They were, it's not the first time it's happened. I have pictures of my backyard where my dog, they tried to get up to the top and throw their boards up their fence while my children are playing. I have boards. I have a 4-pound Shih Tzu. I have where their boards are torn up and broke from where they try to get my dog. My dogs have been out on several occasions. Actually, I want to say 2 months ago, and Arundel County Police came to their residence because the dogs were loose, and the cops actually, a guy followed them in a truck, and the cops were coming behind the guy who was bringing them, and the dogs ran in the yard. The cops shut the gate, but they were trying to put that thing on their heads on my yard. And she came out to look, and the young lady came out about 45 minutes later before they couldn't get the dogs, but it's not the first time it's happened.
Officer Wolf, can you tell us why it was a dangerous citation and not a vicious?
It was deemed at that time dangerous due to the wound information, as well as not being able to identify the dogs listed in the previous report from April 29th of 2019. The dogs could not be identified.
But
So
if
a
the
danger order was issued.
Okay, but if the police officer felt the need to shoot at the dog, you wouldn't label that a vicious dog?
At this time, I can't answer that, sir.
Anything else to add?
No, sir.
Okay, do you want to speak?
The first instance they're talking about, unfortunately, my older daughter who owns Bella could not be here. She's actually watching my other children. That was Bella that got out in April. What he's talking about in his letter saying that it was at nighttime, it was again Bella who got out. I spoke with him. He has my phone number. He called me right away. And even on this day, on the 21st, I asked him, what dog bit you? At that time, he could not tell me. He did not know. He said that it was both the male and female that were out. When on the April incident, when the police came to the house, my daughter Jolene Gwen was outside with Diesel. Diesel was in my yard. The police came to talk to her, came to the gate. This is from the police officer himself, told me that Diesel did come up was coming towards the gate. He went click, click, click with his taser, and Diesel ran back to the house, didn't even come anywhere near him. The day that Diesel got shot, Mackenzie asked the police officer, I don't know his name, I still didn't get his name, that shot my dog, if she could go to the back and get him. He's standing there yelling at her, telling her no. How do I believe my child, because Miss Dawn behind me, her and her whole household when I got there, were screaming and yelling at me over their fence. I asked the officer, like I'm talking to you, sir, could you get them to stop? Could you get them to leave me alone? Could you get them to back away from me? He yells at me, tells me to shut up, and that I'm screaming. And again, I'm talking just like this to you. So I'm tending to believe my child when she said that she's asked to go get her dogs and he has said no. and he's screaming at her and telling her no, the same way he's talking to me. If he would allowed her to go get her dog, because Diesel, at that time, she was under the age, so I had to take ownership of him. She just turned 18 on Friday. So, and I'm still gonna keep ownership of him just because of the legal issues. She's 18, she doesn't need to deal with all that. But if he would allowed her to go get him, Diesel would have never have heard an adult male yelling at his human being and came running to see what was wrong. And that's the same thing. My Diesel doesn't know. I'm not debating whether it was right or wrong that what my neighbor did. I appreciate that he was looking out for my grandson. I get that. My dog doesn't know him. He thought his human was in danger because he told me that he went to go pick up my grandson. I'm sorry, dogs are, if they don't know you and they feel that their humans are in danger, they're going to protect them. Diesel's at the vet, not one time, and they're in his records. Not one time that he was aggressive with anyone at the emergency hospital that took care of him before and after medication, nor did he at Everhart. Matter of fact, my vet tech is 7 months pregnant, in the kennel with him the day after surgery, hand feeding him and giving him his medication. In here, it will tell you that even, because I had to have a muzzle on him, trying to lick them through the muzzle to get affection from them. I have already put everything in order that Officer Wolf has asked me to do. All 13s, I've got it. I'm really sorry. This is new to me. I'm having a real crappy week. I'm coming here, my grandmother's back in the hospital, so forgive me. But she's 99 years old, she's had a great life. But, okay. Diesel has since then he's not himself. Thank you. All he's doing is laying around. We take him out to use the bathroom now he's off the, what is that called, Officer Wolf, that he was on?
For medicine?
No, the quarantine. He's been out back, and he's peeing, but he still hasn't done number 2 yet. He's on medication for that. He's on pain medication that I think he has to be upped because he's just not himself. If you've seen him beforehand, Diesel, when my husband would go like this to me, right, and I go, ow, Diesel would lay on top of me so that my husband, playing around, couldn't touch me. The dog doesn't even lift his head up anymore. And I know they're telling me to give him time, that he'll get better. I don't see it. I don't see him being back to anything that would be a danger to anyone. There's no motivation in this dog. Like, to get him to go down the stairs, like he's been able to before, but now we have to help him. To get up in my bed, you have to help him. To get down out of my bed, you have to help him. He just lays there, or he just looks at you like, what's going on? There's no life in him anymore. We are leaving to go out of town on the 8th. We are taking Diesel with us. And I'm hoping that away from the scene, because it could be, even the vet said it could be the trauma of still being there kind of thing. Something to when we're depressed, we go to do different things, right? Like to try to get ourselves out of that funk. That's what we're trying to do with Diesel, is take him away from everything and hopefully bring life back into him, because he's not. I wish I could have brought him today so you could see that he just lays there. Even in his crate. Yes, sir.
I have a question for you. So you said that you complied with all 13 points of this order, correct?
Yes, sir.
So just so I fully understand, you're asking us to totally drop the order?
Either that, or the one
There's
thing.
nothing specific in here that you want us
Well,
to address?
If you can't drop the whole order, I'm understanding, I'm not petty. The one thing is, my 13-year son has never walked Diesel by himself, ever. My husband is always there. He's like, so until, 5 more years, I can't walk my dog, he may not be here. But my husband has never not been there when he has walked Diesel before on the leash. Because with 4 legs, Diesel, it was hard for me. Like, he pulled me. With 3 legs, he's not even pulling me. I'm pulling him now. Like, trying to get him that, as long as, if it could be a minute to where an adult is with him or with Robert or I have a 15-year-old daughter who she's not gonna walk Diesel either because she's just lazy. She doesn't want to come out of her room. But, that is something, but we've done everything, got the insurance, all of that. Everything that they asked us to do for him, we've done. I'm too scared to let Diesel be out back by himself anyway, unattended, because he's got 3 legs and he went to use the bathroom, and because he doesn't know how, he fell over, went to lift his leg up and he fell. He hasn't, again, really done the number 2 yet because he doesn't know how to maneuver himself in that position to do that. So we don't leave him, and I need to make sure that he's actually going, so he's not a blockage, so I have to take him back to get another surgery, because he hasn't gone yet. It's sad that it happened to him. He's not a bad dog. Is he a protective dog? Yes, he is. He will protect his family if he feels that his humans are in danger. I will definitely say that. He will definitely protect us if he feels that we're in danger. We've done everything, even for the front door for my grandson. We put the lock thing so that he can't twist it, and the chain that goes, we put it at the top so that if we're not home and one of my other children are home with him, they all know when we leave, that chain gets locked. So that if you turn your back on 2 seconds on Mason, even if, God forbid, Mr. Houdini could turn the knob and open that front door, he can't reach the chain part because it only comes open about that much, where no dog is going to maneuver through that much of the open door. It's basically open enough to say, like, who's there kind of thing. We've done all the locks on the gates that they've asked, and even if this is, I can honestly, even if this is lifted, everything stays in place, because it's not really about us, it's about my dog. It's about him having a good life and making sure that he's safe and that nothing like this ever happens again. So everything, we even brought extra panels so that if we just had a trampoline from 2 doors over that way, fly through our yard, 2 yards and got to ours and landed in our backyard. It did break a top piece of the panel off, but that's why we saved we brought extra panels so that if something, we notice the fence isn't up to par, we replace it right then and there. We have everything we need to that, nails, screws, all of that, to make sure that it stays intact. I have the only keys to the gates. These are the 2 for the sides and the back. This is the gate to my front. My driveway port stays locked. I'm not even using my driveway anymore. It stays locked. I park out front in front of my driveway and not inside. So that, again, nothing can be opened.
So, Ms. Pearson, the one piece of this order you have issue with is number 4?
With Robert, with the walking?
Yes.
Well, yeah, if it could be amended to where he can walk, I don't walk Diesel, my husband does, Robert does. They're both Robert. But that's his thing, my son, he's too shy to come in here today to ask you himself. You know, he's 13 years old, but that's his, he's upset. I'm never gonna be able to walk my dog again until 5 years from now, when I'm 18 and Diesel could be dead. He's never gonna walk Diesel in Anne Arundel County or any other county without his father being with him. We've never done it. His dad has always been there to walk with him. And his father could not be here today because he does have to work and could not get off for work today.
Is there anything else we should know?
Would you like me to show you where the order's at in your file?
Oh, the other thing is, the original order I signed has 2 different dates on here. The first date is the 21st that the incident happened, and I'm sure it's a typo, but the second date is the 24th, saying that's when he charged after the police officer and the
Yes.
paramedics. That is wrong.
That is correct. You are right on that. That's the same.
I'm just saying, it is probably just a typo, but Diesel just got out of surgery that day. He was in recovery on the 24th. But everything else we've done, I wrote up 36 of these letters that I'm supposed to give to all of my neighbors at 175 feet. I have no idea what 175 feet is from my house. So we have gone down from what is that, Patrick Henry down to Baldwin. The people across the street from us, we went around the side, and one house we found out behind us has no one lives there at all. And then the house next to that, because again, I have no idea what 175 feet from my front door looks like at all. So I just printed out, and I have copies if you would like to look at them. Stating that by the order we have to let you know that a dangerous animal resides on our property. Again, do I know if I've given them out from 175 feet from my house altogether? No, because I don't know what it looks like.
If you mind, Ms. Pearson, basically what we can do is whatever decision is made here, if they decide to uphold it with any kind of amendments, I'll make sure that you get the actual list of 175 feet from your property.
Thank you, I appreciate that, because I've been racking my brain. I've even asked other police officers, what does that look like?
We have an application that we can do that for you.
Okay, I do appreciate that, because even the police officer he just told me to go 3 houses down on each side of me, front and back. I went a little beyond that, so that I was hopefully in compliant with that part.
I do have something to say. As soon as she was talking about what happened before, when she said it was just Bella, it was both dogs, she wasn't home, nobody, the young lady was home, she was not there, so she can't say it was just Bella. I with my own eyes, it was both dogs that were out several times. Do you know how it is? I have 5 children and grandchildren that I have custody of live in my house. My children out back, I have a pool. I thought it would be my kids, is what I thought. Sorry it was a neighbor, but I thought it would be my kids. Then the dogs jumped their fence out front, jump it. And even the 6-foot fence in the back, like I said, I have pictures. Those dogs have put their feet to the top of that 6-foot fence where you can see their 2 paws and their heads. Scared to death for my kids to be outside, so I thought it would be my kids.
Wow.
And like I said, I love my dog. I have a dog too. I feel her, but I'm a mother first. You know what I mean? And it's not just me; it's the community.
But her children taunt my dogs, because I've gone to her husband, Chris, numerous times for her kids kicking the fence
Never.
while my dogs are outside.
Okay, I'm gonna stop everybody.
just saying.
I understand.
It's-
Mackenzie, did you have something you wanted to say?
That's what I was gonna say. I've
Okay.
actually seen her
I
kids
gotcha.
do it.
Okay.
I want you to respond to that. Are you afraid of her dog?
I've seen both of them.
Actually, I'm gonna end that right
Okay,
now.
that's fine.
Do you have anything else to say on the case that we're here for today?
Just, Diesel is not a danger. Is Diesel protective of his humans? Yes. Yes, he is. I'm never going to deny that. Yes, he is. Have we done everything, even when he was on quarantine, the only way he could go out, he could only go up front. he had his muzzle on the whole time. Diesel didn't bark at anyone, didn't bark at her little dog next door, none of that. He sat there and actually looked at her dog like it was crazy when it would run towards my fence barking at him. Diesel, he's a lover, and I wish I could have brought him here today, but he's not himself. He's very sad. He is lethargic. You know, he just wants to lay around. Like, I was not going to take this trip out of town this coming week because I was afraid for him, that it would be too much for him. My husband has gone since and bought a bed for him to lay down in. We have his bowls, his food, everything that Diesel needs, and we still are taking his muzzle, taking his crate with him, just because, and we're going to a whole nother state where this doesn't even take effect, because it's not about us. It's about Diesel. It's about making sure that Diesel is good. And that's all I want. I want my dog to be able to have a decent life, even with 3 legs. You know, before this happened, if he was outside, I'm in my pool, I hear her kids come outside, my dogs go in the house. I put them in the house. I did not, yes.
Mackenzie, a couple questions.
Sure.
Because you were home at the time of the incident, correct?
Yes.
And could you explain to me how the dogs got out? Again, I know we've heard it, but I wanted to hear from you.
I was in the bathroom and my nephew was in my brother's room with me watching TV. I left the door open, and that was my mistake. And he had got out because he knows how to open the front door and the gate. So he had got out and didn't close the door because he's 2. And then so the dogs follow him, and then so they get out. And then I don't hear about it until my mom calls me because the neighbor called him. And then I go out there. Okay. The police officer is asking me if I own 2 dogs, and I said yes. And then our neighbor, I don't know her name right there, she asked him to come here because unfortunately I didn't know that she had my nephew. So I went back in because I didn't have an appropriate shirt on. So I went back in at that time to go put a shirt on and look around for my nephew. I come back outside, he tells me the dogs are over there, and he just stands in my way, won't let me move, keeps telling me no, that I can't go get him. So I go back in the house for just a second, and then I come outside because I hear my dogs whining at the door. I heard something, I didn't know if it was a gunshot or what. And so I opened the door, I seen blood on the porch. I don't know where it came from. And then probably 20 minutes later or so, and then when my mom got home about 10 minutes later, didn't even tell us he shot our dog until 10 minutes later, me 20.
It's about 15 minutes after he shot my dog, he told me that he shot my dog. And I'm looking around in my yard like, where's my dog?
And then I asked where my nephew was because I couldn't find my nephew. And this was before he said he shot the dog. So my neighbor told me she had him. I said, can I go get him? And she said, yeah, come get him. And the police officer wouldn't move out of my way. He just yelled at me and told me to make sure the gate was locked. So I slammed the gate and was like, it's locked. You're right there in front of me. You can obviously see the door's closed, the gate's shut. So when I opened the gate, that's when he says he shot my dog. I go back inside, he's bleeding all over the kitchen floor.
Okay,
Barely breathing.
I got it. Okay, thank you.
Could I ask a question, please? So, Ms. Gwen, did you actually erect the kennel and build the kennel so the kennel's out back and ready for inspection?
No, because it says that, in here it says that we are to have a 4-foot privacy fence maintained, but we have a 6-foot maintained privacy fence, so we do not have a kennel, because it says and/or, it doesn't say that we have to have both.
It should be the 6-foot fence.
It is it says 4 foot
Yes.
on my paperwork.
But it definitely should
we
be
went
6
ahead-
foot if you're not doing the kennel like we had discussed.
No, because when I did get a call back and it's a 12 gauge.
Okay.
But we do have a dog house out back for him. We know that if we leave the dogs outside unattended, they get water and food and all that other good stuff. But really, we don't. We let them go out to use the bathroom and we bring them right back in, especially because it's so hot outside. I know for me, going outside, it takes my breath away. I'm sure the dogs have a hard time in this heat as well, so they don't get to stay out like that. They get out to use the bathroom, and that's it. And like I said, we have all the thing on the fence that say if you forget to shut the gate, it's got a spring on all gates that go out that you can open and to go out of our premises. They have that on there. Matter of fact, the one in the front is so heavy, I have to use pretty much my whole body weight to open my very front gate. We put a smaller one on that one.
Can I see that, Tiffany?
This is just a photo with the copy. We just want to see it.
Because when I asked him too, which one of the dogs bit him, because Bella just had puppies. He said, I don't know if it was the male or female.
That's what it is.
Again, her boobs are hanging. She just had puppies. Matter of fact, they're ready to go now. We don't have any, they're gone. Except for the one that we are taking to my brother.
Yes.
And I asked him numerous times, was it the boy or the girl? Until Diesel got shot, that's when all of a sudden the light bulb went off. Oh, it was him. And that's the same thing. The night that he said that they got out was the last night of the Pasadena Carnival down in Rivera Beach. He said that Bella had gotten out, the female dog. By the time we got home, she was in our yard. There was a gap in the back yard, the back fence that she had pushed open. That has been replaced with a brand new piece of plywood, not plywood, what do you call those? The whole sheet of fencing? The pallet, I guess. I don't know what you call. Huh?
Wait a minute.
Panel. And my husband went the extra mile, and it's a silver piece of metal, like that he actually screwed at the top and middle and the bottom of the new posts, the new ones that we put in, just in case Bella ever tries to push her way through again. The other thing we were planning on doing is taking chicken wire fencing along the bottom half of where there's been damage before, so they just can't get to it at all. And as far as Diesel being able to jump 6 feet in the air, I can't even get him to jump. My bed stands to here. I can't get him to jump that high to get onto my bed. He falls when he does it.
Going back to some of the characteristics of the dogs, when they get out, what do they normally do? Like, they've been out before, right? Right? They've been out before?
Bella has been out before, yes.
Okay.
Diesel got out the first day that we moved there. My kids come from the city. They never had a backyard, fencing, any of that. They were taking out the trash to the front.
Yeah, so when they do get out, what do they do?
They tried to get in my yard that first day, and the little girl
Okay.
and her sister.
I'll be right with you. Thank you. I'll be right with you.
They just walk around.
Okay.
From what I've heard from people, they just walk around. And then from what I've seen them getting out that side gate, they used to just stay in my neighbor's yard. So I used to just be able to go there and get them. And my neighbor knows. He doesn't mind the dogs going in his yard. He doesn't care.
Mr. Kirk,
Yeah.
the actual owner of the property, actually, because my dogs will bark at nighttime too, and I'm always apologizing, and he's like, no, it lets me know if people are around. It makes him aware, because I don't want them to be a nuisance and keeping everybody. Man, I gave these, Mr. Kirk and the other young man, my cell phone number to call me in the middle of the night. If you hear my dogs barking, please call me. Don't be afraid to wake me up. I will go see why they're barking. I will make them be quiet, put them in, in a different part of the house so that they're not barking.
Okay. Thank you.
I try to.
Thank you. What's your last name again, please? Right, that's okay. I understand. I heard you. Thank you. Were you in your house or outside of the house when?
Outside, videoing it. I I videoed it. Her, that young girl, and her sister, I guess it's her sister, those dogs were under the front
Are you talking
dogs
about the incident
the
that we're
first
talking
day
about
they
today?
moved there, the first day they
You're talking
got
about back in April?
No, when they first moved there, the dogs
Okay,
said
so-
the day they moved.
Okay.
The dogs came underneath my fence, their two paws and their heads were under, because my fence doesn't have a bottom part, it's a split
No
side.
way.
Those girls had them.
Just
one
let
foot
everybody, it's
pulling
called
them.
testimony, it's gonna go, it's fine.
Okay, I was just
There's no
responding to
comments.
her thing when she said the first
But
day
you're
they got
talking
out.
about an incident from,
Yes, from when the first day they got out,
which was,
when the first day they moved in, the next day after.
when did they move in?
January 25th, 2018.
Okay, so we're talking about as far, you know, okay, great.
Mhm.
And then,
Actually,
but on
that
the
would've been
day-
that Monday.
On the day of the incident,
Yeah.
where were you, outside or inside?
Outside.
You were outside and you.
They
ended
actually
up-
came in my yard first, the ambulance people and the police came to my house, because I called the police and I said, no, it's at 518. So the ambulance people went out, the dogs charged them, they got in the ambulance, the cop was outside they shot him in front of her yard, but they were coming in front of my fence. So then they went from the officer. to
Are you
officer.
two right next to each other?
Right next to
Bless
each
you.
other.
Okay.
It's-
That tells me.
Because the gun shell casing that was found because the bullet was still in my dog, my house is here, my neighbor's house is here, hers is here. Right here, at the beginning of my property line and Mr. Kurt's property line is where that gun casing, the bullet
We
casing was
decided where
found.
The dogs were in front of her house, but it actually happened, and the officer was in front of my house, they're actually trying to pull my ring to get video.
Man, this is what I think we're missing the point with this whole thing. You've said multiple times that your dog's been at large. It's been out of the house, whether it's protecting your family or not, it's been out of the house, correct? It's been out, not in the confines of your yard or your house,
Not Diesel,
correct?
but the female dog, yes. You
Okay,
have
but
the
it's so-
wrong, what I'm just saying, you guys
Your
have the wrong dog.
Well, your dog got shot, right? So he would have been outside without being attended to at the time, right? So it couldn't have been Bella because Bella didn't get shot, correct?
Because the police officer won't let her to go get him.
Well, I don't need to get into all that. My point is, the dog was outside, correct?
Mhm.
That's what we're saying. Whether he's been outside before or not, that day he was outside. This order that we're here to talk about today keeps that dog protected from everyone else, as well as keeps everyone else protected from that dog. That's why we're here. We want to keep the public safety first and foremost. Okay, so understanding, it's terrible that your dog got shot. It is. But your dog would not have gotten shot if it was in the house. And I understand a 2-year-old let the dog out. There's something in here that would keep that from happening. That's why we're here. We want to protect you, your family, and everyone else's family in the neighborhood. That's the whole point of this. So I just need to make sure you understand that.
I do understand that.
Okay.
I do. That's the whole reason why that I went and complied and embarrassed
And I get
myself
that.
and gave these letters out.
Hey, I understand that, and I hear that, but we're here today for a reason. And if it's not to take things out of this order, you understand this order is put in place for that reason. That's why we're here today, to talk about this order.
Okay,
Not-
but then,
not your
is there a
dog
way
is
to
a
move it
bad
down
dog or you
to
bad people,
potentially
anything like that.
dangerous? Instead of just full-blown dangerous? He's not a dangerous dog. Her children have been caught many times taunting him.
Ma'am, you made the statement just a minute ago that we have the wrong dog. Our police officers are trained to obviously understand a dangerous situation, and a police officer in this county is not gonna pull a gun on a dog unless there is a real
Okay,
threat.
You're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, wait,
On
ma'am,
the-
you
all
said we
other
have the wrong
things-
dog. I don't believe we have the wrong dog.
All the other dogs, thank you, ma'am, all the previous situation that is brought up to put into this order to say that he's the dangerous dog, it was not him. It was the female dog, Bella. That day, yes, he got out. Yes, your police officer was yelling at my
I
daughter.
want to focus on that part, because that day he got out, and that day he bit someone, and that's all we want to talk about. And I just want to say, all of us are animal lovers, and we know quite a bit that dogs will protect your family, and they're very loving too. And I will say, on both sides of this, it's extremely emotional, and I've been present when two dogs are in fight. It's very scary, and it's terrifying. So I'm being bitten as well as seeing your dog injured, and my heart goes out to you. I'm very sorry that this happened, because I know that Diesel's a good family dog, but when he gets out, he's protective, and that's what we're here to try to. You have been very responsible in getting all of these things in order, and I greatly appreciate that, because that means that he's going to be safe with you guys, and that gives us a lot of, encouragement to know that you take this seriously, and that is what we
He's my
appreciate.
baby.
And I know you've been through a lot, and as a young lady, seeing your dog injured and kind of trying to deal with all of this yourself at home when your parents are not home and you're in charge of a lot, I just want you to know we understand that that's extremely emotional and difficult. So, you know, previous getting out and this and that, basically, it was a really bad day where Diesel got out. It was just like a perfect storm, and he bit someone. And it just got worse when he was injured. And I hope that he recovers, and that you get the sweet dog back, and then that he can just be safe with this order in your home with you guys. And that's what we want, him to be home with you. But then also, you know, there's little ones, and everything in here is to help him not to get out. Keep him safe and keep others safe. And there's a couple of things that we could maybe help out with. You know, about if there's anything in these orders that we, you know, can give you some leeway with to make life a little bit easier. But some of the biggest things that we are going to be steadfast on to keep him in is the second door barriers, the lock that you have, the fencing that you have, those kinds of things, so that he doesn't slip out. Because let's get to the heart of it. He slipped out. We need to stop that from happening.
And not just him, also Bella. You realize these things in place are going to protect both of you.
Right.
Right.
I mean, granted, Bella doesn't have to wear a muzzle and doesn't have to do certain things, but these other things will protect all of the dogs that you have at your house. And your kids.
And so
And I'm
this is
sorry
great.
that I'm
Yeah.
emotional.
It's really
And
difficult. We understand.
I'm usually pretty level-headed. I just have a lot going on, not just with my dog, my family issue with my grandmother. As I told Officer Wood, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for him. I mean, you guys can laugh when my husband said that night you could have just euthanized him instead of us paying $4,000 out because we can't get this done. Officer Wolf will tell you, and I really don't care, I told my husband I'd rather him die than my dog. I love that dog. There's nothing I wouldn't do for him. So if you guys say this is how it has to be, then I will suck it up and do what's best for Diesel. I really would hope you would think about the whole, my son being able to at least walk him with his father there kind of thing, because that really does hurt my son that he can't walk his own dog. Right now I haven't even allowed him to try in the backyard only because Diesel's not real what's that word? Sure-footed with just 3 legs, and they don't want him to hurt himself or Robert by, you know, trying to do a little bit more than he needs to be trying to do. The other thing is, we were planning on getting Diesel fixed anyway. He has been cleared for that, but I was hoping I could do it when we get back. We'll be back on the 11th that week. If we could do it, I'll make an appointment here for him to get fixed and microchipped. We didn't do it at the time of his leg surgery. The vet just thought it was entirely too much to put on him at that moment in time. So we opted to wait until he was better. His shoulder up here, though, like I was telling Officer Roy, they may have to take him back because he got his staples out on Saturday, and it looks a little open up here, and he's been whining more so at nighttime. So he may need to go back on different kind of pain medication. Not 100% sure, but I need him to get looked at so they tell me what I need to do. He does have the harness. Do you have a picture of that, Officer Wolf, the harness? Because I remember, he can't, it's not the ones you can step to, you need 2 legs. It's one that goes over his chest because he doesn't have that leg. He cannot wear that right now, prior vet's orders, because they don't want it rubbing on his incision area and making it worse. We do have his muzzle that we connect to his leash and his collar. We do have the $125
license.
license for him as well as we just kept his other one that we just paid for as well, with his rabies shots on that. We have them all, they're all three on the same collar.
Anything to add before we deliberate?
I would like to say something if I could. I think that we've clearly identified the acts of public safety were on July 21st of 2019 with Diesel. I would also like to reiterate with going to a later date for neutering and our microchip requirement, that going out of town with a dog that may not be microchipped for identifying purposes is not a good idea. I'm not a vet and I can't say for the neutering aspect of it, but I think that should be maybe better evaluated by a vet, but that to be upheld, that he's microchipped as well as looking into the neutering. I would also like to bring to the attention that number 3 should be a 6-foot fence completely around the property if she is not doing the kennel that we originally were looking into. That it's clearly a 6-foot fence enclosing the entire area.
It's against county, I can't put a 6-foot privacy fence in my front yard.
Not the front, the back.
The backyard has a 6-foot privacy fence. That is up.
And so to describe the front yard, does the front yard have like?
It's 4
So
foot.
he just wouldn't be allowed in that area?
Right, he doesn't go out there without one of us now.
He wouldn't be allowed out there without being leashed, even though it's?
Yeah, he would be
Right.
on his leash, and they also, I won't do it now because, he's only got 3 legs, and I'm again afraid of him hurting himself, but we have one of the cables, the strong cables where he could,
He can't be tied out there?
no, saying that if we were out there with him,
Mhm.
so that he could run, where he wouldn't have to actually hold him on a leash, but he's not, he does all his business out back.
Right.
They're not really, I don't want any of the dogs out front. My children know this, they know that,
Right.
you know, that again, we've got the lock on the doors so that Mason or any, you know, he can't turn the knob. We've tested it out on him already, he can't.
It's just photos, they're just gonna go up.
Yeah, this is the back, this is the front area,
So these are the front.
back, and back side.
So the first page is the front, the rest are the back side.
So how many dogs do you have home now?
We have 3.
3? And one is the puppy?
One, there's Maleficent, Bella, who is Diesel, and Maleficent's daughter, and then Diesel. And the puppy that I'm taking to my brother, but he's 8 weeks old, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was done with puppies, like, this was, it was happening either way. I was told to do it, or I told my husband, again, I love the dog, but I'm done with puppies.
Anything else before we deliberate?
No, other than, I've got the fencing up that they asked for, and it's in repair. And I also have, I can show you on my phone, they asked for I think I sent it to you in an email, Officer Wolf, but I'm not sure.
I think this is all
The
front.
dangerous
Okay.
dog sign they needed, that is up if,
This is all
hold on,
back.
my phone, it's new. Is it upside down?
No.
I think that's just the back half of it, third page of it.
Which leg was amputated on the dog?
The front left. I have a picture of that as well, if,
I just wanted to.
but, take the, she's, that's the dangerous, oh, I'm sorry,
Wait
give
a
it to her,
minute.
Denny, I'm so sorry. But that's the sign that we got off of Amazon, that it has to be in public sighting. So instead of sticking on my door, because I have banana trees growing in the front of my house, we've thought it was better to actually put that on the gate so that you could see it first thing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And if I need to go get more of those, if you tell me.
We're going into closed deliberation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're in open deliberations, there's no further public participation.
All right, well, my feeling here is the only thing I'm willing to relax on is number 4, and, to allow the 13-year-old to walk the dog, provided it's on a muzzle. A 3-legged dog with a lost limb on the front is gonna be very difficult to run and escape and yank them down the street, so I'm willing to relax that.
Sure.
I think I'd be willing to go with that, number 4 maybe, but including, that he needs to maybe be with someone 18
That's
years
fine.
or older or something like that. But he could still be in control of the animal as long as someone else was present.
Mhm.
I think I'd be willing to go with that, but I think the rest of the order, I think needs to be in place.
Okay.
Anything?
I don't know about that. Only because the reason why we're here is because of the irresponsibility of juveniles. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to an adult being with the 13-year-old.
Yeah, that would be the only way I would see
Yeah.
doing it, not on his own.
That would
at
be the
all, but
only way.
That's the only way I see doing it.
Yes.
I'd make a stipulation where the 13-year-old, son can, specifically can walk the dog only when with,
Yeah.
someone 18-year-olds,
Yeah.
or, something along those lines. I mean, that'd be
Yes.
the only way I'd see doing it. I wouldn't give him
Full
carte
blown.
blanche to just walk
Yeah.
around with him, no.
Agreed.
Yep.
Because that presumes responsibility just to put the muzzle on and other things too, so I don't know that that's where I want to be with the 13-year-old.
That's as far as I would go too.
Okay, motion.
Yeah.
And then, the other one was the neutering and the microchip, which,
Gonna have to.
I mean,
We uphold?
Yeah,
No.
I would leave, I don't see any reason to change any of that. I mean, I feel like,
Well, I
as far
mean-
as them going out of town, I mean, there's nothing, as far as I see, with these orders, that she would generally have to contact wherever she was going to let them know she was coming anyway, and see how that goes, and then contact animal control, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's how it would end up being. So, if we uphold the order, potentially she would have to contact the jurisdiction she was going to.
no, I know, that's fine.
With or without, and then as far as bottom line is, the dog's already home. I mean, she's already all the way there with this thing as far
I
as
think
I'm
the
That's not
microchip
what I'm-
makes a lot of sense. I mean, based on his recovery, he just got sutures out. But if Officer Wolf was like recommending getting a microchip before leaving county, I think that makes a lot of sense. So, and that's not terribly invasive like another surgery would be.
Right,
So
what-
timing wise, is that what your question was?
Well, I mean, I think there's some question about whether the dog is required to be neutered prior to them going out of town or not.
Oh,
I believe that's what she was asking. I mean, correct me if, maybe that's not correct, so. Guys,
I think the microchipping is the more important of those. The neutering thing should
well, I think
be left-
everybody's in
Yeah.
agreement with that. I mean, I think that the
Yeah, I think
microchip
she-
probably would not be very, detrimental to him to get that prior to, but the neutering, I'm certainly willing to leave it in if Everhard is their current vet and they have to evaluate him because it sounds like his process of healing is
Well, and I
taking
think
some
that's part of
time,
his
so I do
whole-
think
yeah.
that it's reasonable to defer to them
Yes.
on the timing of the neutering because he's been through a lot.
Absolutely.
And I don't see any harm in that.
But I also see, bottom line is this dog's already home with this order not 100% in place as it is anyway, because of that reason.
Right.
So I think that, if we uphold the order as it is and defer to the vet, like you said, I don't know if we need to write that in there. I mean, it's kind of.
I don't know, I believe that's what she asked. Did anybody else, is that what you
Right,
asked?
that's,
Yeah,
I mean, the dog's gonna need to be neutered regardless. is
That's
all I'm
right.
saying.
Right, 'cause like I had already said,
I don't see any
that was
reason,
already.
if we defer to the vet on when it's appropriate to do that, I don't think anybody has a problem with
No,
that.
not at all.
Okay, just making sure that's clear, 'cause
yeah, I think that's
this
fine.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
I would stipulate though that having the microchip before leaving would probably be better, so maybe we should include that.
That makes a lot of
Can you
sense to
do
me.
Are you open tomorrow
Yes.
to do microchipping?
Okay.
No, I mean, I
Right,
think,
so
so let's,
that's
so then
where we are.
I will move to change the order to stipulate that, under number 4, sorry.
Okay.
That Diesel should not be taken out of the home, fenced area or kennel unless restrained on a 6-foot leash
or non-retractable leash with a collar, harness with a coupler attached to the muzzle, and under control of a responsible person 18 years or older, and also, I guess at that point we'd say, and also,
She's going to bring him down here to get him microchipped tomorrow.
I understand
Yes,
that,
if
but
it's
that's.
with the exception of the.
Yeah, with the exception of the 13-year-old who may also walk the dog when in, I don't want to say this.
In the company
Attendance
of.
with his dad?
Yeah,
In the company of
in the company of
adult.
an adult, yes, of someone 18 years or older. So I would change that, and then I would say that also the microchip should be in place. So number 7 should stipulate something along the lines of the microchip should be in place before the dog leaves Anne Arundel County.
Okay.
And if we do want to get specific, I can also move to say that the neutering can be done at the time that is appropriately deemed by the veterinary staff.
Sure.
So does that work for everyone?
Yep, second.
Okay. All in favor?
All right,
All
thank you.
right. Thank you.
This is just a recommendation to the chief of police. He will make his decision within 15 days to receive an email or a certified mail with the chief. Okay. Hold or overturn.
Ma'am, I would look at the jurisdiction where you're planning to go and ask them about the rules of having a dangerous, a dog under this order there, because you may find that it's more restrictive or possibly less restrictive there.
Okay.
But you might want to know that before you go.
Okay, yeah, well, that's why we were bringing